Welcome to Beyond the Launch, the podcast that explores what really happens after the deal is signed and the product goes live, because real impact doesn't come from implementation alone. It comes from intentional, strategic customer success. Hosted by Ivan Whitaker, an experienced executive in sales, customer success, and implementations, including complex 911 and public safety implementations. This podcast goes beyond the launch to uncover what truly takes drive, adoption, measurable outcomes, and long-term success.
This episode exists because of one person, CJ Casuto from Cincinnati, Ohio. CJ sent in a question, and it wasn't just a good question, it was the question. The kind of question that exposes a gap some organizations don't even realize they have. The kind of question that forces you to rethink not just execution, but design. Here's what CJ asked. In many organizations, customer success, implementation, and product adoption are treated as separate phases. From your experience, what are the most effective ways companies can create a seamless journey so that implementation success naturally leads to long-term adoption and measurable customer value? That question is the reason this podcast exists. Sales does its job. Implementation does its job. Customer success tries to drive adoption afterward. And so today I'm going to answer CJ's question, but by articulating how to design a system where implementation naturally leads to adoption. And adoption produces measurable operational value inside a 911 environment. Let's build it. Number one, intelligence is important to capture. Sales is not just qualifying a deal. You are mapping a system of responsibility. You are learning how the PSAP operates under load, where decision authority sits, director, board, county leadership, or chiefs, what political pressure exists across municipalities, what CAD systems are in place, and how fragile or integrated they are. Are there vendor dependencies that could slow or block progress? Are there union or protocol constraint considerations? And most importantly, what success looks like to the 911 leader. Is it reduced workload for emergency dispatchers, improved call processing, improved responder safety, reduced call handling times? Because if you don't define success their way, you will build something that works but doesn't matter. If it works and doesn't matter, it will never last. Now here's the failure point. The intelligence is often treated as conversation, not system input. It lives in notes, in emails, in memory. And when the deal closes, it disappears. This is where CRMs become critical. A properly designed CRM in this environment should not just store information. It should operationalize it. It should capture stakeholder influence maps, who approves, who blocks, who drives, political jurisdictional complexity, CAD and RMS integration dependencies, risk scoring tied to implementation friction, adoption readiness indicators, communication sensitivity levels, and more importantly, it should trigger action. The data should drive success probability metrics. High-risk deals should drive enhanced implementation pathways. Complex implementation should drive early technical engagement. This should all provide customer success teams with valuable information at the onset that can be used downstream. But this only works if the CRM is designed correctly, not configured, but designed. And if your organization cannot do this, do not hire a CRM administrator, hire a CRM architect, a leader, someone who can define your data model, design lifecycle workflows. Your CRM is not a database. It's the nervous system of your customer journey. Because when this is done correctly, by the time the deal closes, you're not starting, you're continuing with clarity. Number two, the sales handoff. Many times, things start to break down at the sales handoff because it's treated like a meeting instead of what it really is. It's a transfer of responsibility with zero tolerance for information loss. In a 911 environment, you cannot afford a lack of clarity. So the sales handoff to implementations and customer success must be structured and disciplined. If intelligence is captured correctly, the sales handoff should include documented success definitions, identified risk and dependencies, stakeholder alignment maps, known resistance points, technical integration realities, and most importantly, ownership of barriers, not later, but now. I've seen environments where a large percentage of implementation stalled, not because of product failure, but because no one owned the friction. For example, if a large percentage of your implementations are stalled by CAD interface challenges, assign a technical specialist early to mitigate the risk before the implementation starts. Number 3, the Customer Alignment Summit. This is not an implementation kickoff. Your implementation and customer success teams engage the client as a structured experience. It is designed for the individual client. Day 1 is for strategic alignment and may include a 1-hour executive session for 911 leadership, county officials, and stakeholders. The goal is to define purpose, align on outcomes, and establish champions and buy-in. This session assists 911 leadership with establishing internal momentum, which goes a long way for obtaining downstream approvals. There can be an operational session. The focus of this session is how your tool will integrate with existing call flows, dispatch realities, and policies. There should be a technical session where the tech folks meet to discuss CAD integration mapping, network readiness, and data validation. Day 2 should consist of executive design. One session should include implementation road mapping, milestones, dependencies, ownership. Another session should include a KPI workshop where you define success metrics and reporting cadences. There can also be a communication session where public information officers and the communications director align on messaging and public awareness campaigns. It is important to note that all of this is about alignment. And alignment cannot be established in a 15-minute stand-up meeting. It has to be built in the beginning, thus the role of the Customer Alignment Summit. Number 4, build the training phase to drive the desired behaviors. Training does not create adoption, behavior does. So design behaviors by creating scenario-based training, role-specific workflows, and simulation-based learning. Do not leave it up to the training departments to create the materials. Design it for them. Remove heavy lifting, and provide materials for emergency dispatchers that not only train on functionality, but exposes the benefits and use cases. Many times adoption fails, not because they don't know how to use it, but because they don't know when to use it. If you train correctly, adoption can be achieved day 1. With this in mind, create materials that equip 911 leaders to communicate in all landscapes about your product or service. Board presentations, media kits, internal messaging. Because unclear communication delays adoption. Remember, 911 leaders are not technology fatigued, they are implementation fatigued. Remove the heavy lifting. Number 5, don't design a go-live event. Design a seamless transition that reflects the strength of your preparation. A launch shouldn't feel like pressure. It should feel like confirmation. If you implement correctly and allow your customer success members to influence and pivot when necessary, the launch will feel more like a continuum rather than a net new experience. This is how you drive adoption on day 1. To do this, you must revisit your implementation and customer success strategies. Number 6, post-launch and customer success activities are immediate. No heavy lifting for the client, but observing metrics must begin immediately. Are there pain points? What adjustments need to be made? A report that is handed to 911 leadership is great, but the practical application of making the adjustment for the client is altogether something different. Many vendors practice 30, 60, and 90-day post-launch visits. That is great, but these visits should incorporate the necessary adjustments, not just check-ins. The strategies I've discussed are only a few. CJ, this is your answer. You don't connect phases, you eliminate the gaps. You design continuity end to end. Because in 911, this isn't about technology. It's about performance when it matters the most. And when you design it correctly, customer success is not something you chase, it's something you engineer. And that is what exists beyond the launch.